Hi guys, welcome back to 12 Days of Foundation. It is day 2 today. I will link to day 1 down below. If you're just joining me, I have decided to do 12 foundation reviews in 12 days, all inspired by that Taylor. She actually does a 15 days of foundation and I was obsessed with watching that series, so I thought you guys might like to see it here on my channel as well. I will link to her videos down below, of course. Today we're going to be chatting all about a powder foundation, and this one I picked up during the Sephora sale. You would have seen it in a first impression video, all linked down below. This is the Sephora Collection Matte Perfection Powder Foundation. I actually ended up going back and returning the shade that I had. I had 54. I've since gone down to 48 Golden Almond just because I lose so much color in the summer. I felt like this would be a better option. I'm an NC42, NC43 for reference, and I have incredibly oily skin. Oil production factory for those of you who have been watching for a little while. So I'm going to show you application, how it wears throughout the day, take some photos, and we will see how it holds up. This of course can be found at Sephora. It is $20 USD and $25 Canadian. Something to keep in mind though is you are getting a little bit less product. You're getting 7.5 grams of product in here. In my Kat Von D powder foundation there is 9 grams, in Too Faced Cocoa powder foundation there's 11, and in MAC Studio Fix there is 15 grams. So that's something to keep in mind and just take a look at when you're purchasing a powder foundation, because for me anyways, I'm not as familiar with what the average size is. This powder foundation however comes in 35 shades, which makes me so happy. It looks like it goes very fair all the way up to very deep. There's also a liquid foundation in the Sephora collection line that does the same thing, and I saw it all laid out at Sephora one day and I was like, yes, finally there has to be something in here for everyone. So it just makes me really happy to see that. Let's get into the application. On the Sephora website they describe this as a hybrid powder foundation with a creamy texture and natural matte finish. This unique powder foundation has a creamy texture that creates a flawless matte finish. Featuring Flex Matte technology, the formula moves with your skin for ultimate comfort and weightless coverage. You can build to your preferred level. It does not crack, cake, or feel suffocating. It's an ideal mix of buildable and breathable, lightweight and long wearing, natural and matte. I got a little bit carried away and ended up finishing the rest of my makeup. I'm testing out this new palette from Avon, which I already should have a review on, so I will link to that down below. I feel like I got a nice medium coverage out of this foundation. I didn't want to build it up anymore because I was pretty happy with the coverage that I got. You may be able to build it up a little bit more. I also think you could easily set a foundation with this, which I have done before. I do, however, feel like the application was patchy and still is a little bit patchy. I had to work really hard to blend it in, and that is not something that I like when it comes to a powder foundation. It's supposed to be easy and seamlessly blend into your skin, so I feel like if you had any patches on your skin, like dry patches, texture, anything like that, I don't really think that this is going to work for you. And I don't really have any major issues, but I do feel like it's showing off my pores more than normal, and I just didn't love the application. In addition to that, I feel like it comes out darker on your face than it does in the pan. As you know, I've already gone a couple shades lighter and it still comes out darker. I don't know if it's that it's an automatic oxidization thing, if maybe it just like I'm a really bad gauge of color, but like this looked much lighter than the one that I had initially purchased in that Sephora haul. And it also is very powdery, so I ended up with a little bit of powder kick-up on my lap, so keep that in mind when you're using this foundation, that it can get a little bit messy. Other than that, I do like the finish. I think it gives a nice natural matte finish. Not really glowy, not super matte and cakey. In photos, I think that it looks awesome. In kind of more and more natural lighting or my bright lights, it looks great. And then there are no claims of SPF, so I didn't really get any flashback in photos either. I'm gonna go ahead and go on about my day. It's about 7:40, 7:50 in the morning, so I've gotta get going, but I will check back with you at the end of the day. It's now the end of my makeup day, just after 5 o'clock, so I've had this foundation on for an entire work day, and then after work I just ran to H&M to try and find a dress for my Christmas party tomorrow, and of course everything I tried on had like a turtleneck on it, and I was like wiping makeup all over the clothes. Yes, I am that person, but I lost a good portion of the makeup in the middle of my face, so that's why it's worn off more than it would be on kind of a regular day. I just wanted to make a note of that. This foundation went through a little bit more than normal, but otherwise before I went and tried on clothes, it actually looked really good on my skin. It hadn't really worn away. So what I want to do is just blot, and then the thing that I love the most about powder foundations is just like the fact that even if they wear away a little bit, you can go back in and just kind of put it back on. So I have incredibly oily skin. It all kind of depends on your preferences. My only really qualm about this foundation is that it goes on like darker than you'd think. I think it looks good. It's not my absolute favorite powder foundation ever. I like it. I think I'm going to use this probably more to set my face than I am as a powder foundation, or on days where I'm not going to be wearing my makeup for a very long time, or just days where I don't really care that much. Like, it's not something that I'd be like, okay, I'm going out for a long time, I know this is going to last. It's something that I'd wear on days where it's just like a light makeup day. I just want to kind of even out my skin tone. I do love how many shades are in this line. I absolutely loved the finish to begin with. It definitely got oily throughout the day. I have to blot basically no matter what. I feel like it could get a tiny bit patchy on the skin or cling on any dry patches and texture that you have. So if that's an issue of yours, just be sure to use a smoothing primer. I love the price, although you have to keep in mind you are getting a little less product. Let me know down below if you have tried this foundation yourself and what you think. I'm always curious to know, and we can have a chat down in the comment section. Be sure to stay tuned for the rest of 12 days of foundation. I hope you are enjoying it so far. If you'd like to connect with me, you can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat at SamanthaJaneYT, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!